Hey, what's up, team? So I got the request to do a trade breakdown on my Facebook play today. I'm going to verify the profits for you, and we'll get into the trade. $1,030 here, $514 there, for a total of $1,544 in profits. 2793 is my account number. I'm showing you this to let you know that these are real profits, right? This isn't a paper trading account. Now that we've gotten that out the way, let's look at Facebook and talk about why it was even on the watch list. I actually posted this play on Twitter for you guys on the 29th, so this weekend. So I said it met some hard resistance here at 280, but it's holding the 50 as a support, and we're looking for a break of 280 for the move towards 290. All right. The analysis didn't change. It just took another day to consolidate and before it decided to finally break out. So we're going to draw a resistance line there at 280. It's kind of been ranging here and being compressed between this 50 EMA, that's that green dotted line, and this flat top resistance at 280. 1, 2, 3, 4 times it's been tested as a resistance in the past few weeks. So a break over 280 meant that we had a lot of room right here to make up. This big sell-off happened in one day, and then every time above 280, just about, it's made these major moves. We have a move up to 287. We have a move from 290 down to 280. So you see it's prone to making bigger pops, and this level was a very strong level of resistance. So once it was broken, that's how we got our play. All right. That is why this was on the watch list for today, because it had almost gapped up a little bit. I don't know if I would consider that a gap up, but it was creeping up towards that 280 mark. All right, so right at open, the first 5-minute candle, I'm on the 5-minute chart, first 5-minute candle pushed up and closed over the $280 price point. Immediately, let me pull up the alerts for you guys. So immediately at 6:33, 3 minutes into the session, I said Facebook's worth watching over the trigger. Watch that 5-minute candle rule. Watch that 5-minute candle rule. And our rule is that you don't trade in the first 5 minutes. If a stock pushes up and over the trigger, you want to wait for it to pull back and test it as a support and then go, right? And so that's when I gave you the contracts here at 6:34, 1 minute later. I said I'm looking to take a dip entry on Facebook at the trigger, give you the contracts. 280 needs to hold, hang tight, wait for confirmation. Okay? This is where it gets a little iffy, because I didn't have time to send out the exact alert because it never pulled back. So let's look at the 1 minute chart time frame, and you'll see what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your first 5-minute candle. The next candle printed green, made a new high of day. It never gave us a pullback all the way to 280, which, if some of you are waiting for that rule to play out exactly, this is going to happen sometimes. You won't always get a perfect pullback to the trigger to test it as a support before it goes. The fact that it was already over the trigger, based on our analysis on the daily chart time frame, is telling us it's bullish, right? That's in an uptrend. So as soon as I saw a new high of day printed right there, I took my first entry and caught this move up to the top side. All right, that was the, if we look at the breakdown again, that was the first trade right there for $1,030. All right, so that one pushed up. Nice trade right there to the top. After that, I mentioned that, okay, so at 640, a hold at 282 is bullish for Facebook, right? So let's look at the 640 price point. So this had pushed up quite a bit. By this time, I'd already taken profits, and I was looking for another dip entry. And let me just zoom out so this looks a little cleaner for you. I was looking for another dip entry. We never got that dip entry necessarily, right? So right here, it started to pull back and then went back up to the high of day. And then again pulled back right there. So if we're looking at my alerts that I sent out, 6:43, I said Facebook still looks great. I would look for a dip somewhere. Okay, so 6:43, that was posted just before it pulled back, right? And then it pushed up, tested this high of day, and then pulled back again. And then so at this point, what you have, you can start to draw yourself that downward trend line. Right? And I talk about using this method to identify intraday trend changes. So the idea is that you draw your trend line across the tops of candles on a downtrend, and once you get the break of this downward trend line, you have a likely trend change. If we're looking at this on the 5-minute chart time frame, you know, it's very small, but it is there, right? So that's what you have. So going back to the 1-minute chart, that's where I took my second entry for this pop move up to the high of day. You're like, whoa, Gates, how'd you know to sell right there? Or why did you sell right there? First off, I was sized down. I usually, like if I make $1,000 in a day or on one trade, I will usually just size down. That is my daily goal. And so I try to not give anything back after I've hit that daily goal. Sometimes, like yesterday's trade with AMD, that's not... I don't get to take advantage of the opportunity that's being presented as much when I size down like that, but it's my plan, right? And so I'm just protecting profits, and I'm happy with anything that I make. So once this pushed up, I sold there because it was high of day, right? And I saw this doji candle forming right there. I mean, I was happy with the profits. I was like, if this really wants to go, you know, I'll look for another entry somewhere else. And so sure enough, it pulled back, right? And then we're looking at a scalping strategy that I like to use where the old resistance here should be validated as a new support here. And as soon as we got that confirmation candle there, I took another entry for that pop move up into the high of day. And then I never revisited the play after that. And that was like another, you know, whatever, $250 it was to bring me up to that $500 total here. So altogether, $1,500, not a bad trade at all. I'm super happy with those two little entries. The only thing that I am looking at hindsight on this trade that I wish I would have done is stuck around for this move right here. And I actually saw this happening, but because I didn't take the entry early, I felt like I would have been chasing, and then so, you know, I wound up not taking that trade. But let's talk about the alerts. Right here at 7:01, I did give you the trade idea. I just did not have time to alert the exact contracts, you know, with the entry price and all of that, because I'd already given you guys, the contracts. And then we're talking about, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 mentions already. Plus, it's over the trigger level. I mean, everybody should have been watching this, really, and that's why I'm doing this video now, because I didn't have the time to alert it then, but I want you to watch this video to learn from me now so that the next time you see something like this setting up, hopefully you will recognize it because you've learned from this video and you'll be able to take advantage of the opportunity being presented. So at 7:01, I did say it is worth watching on the trend line break, and that's going to be right here, 7:01. So you can sit here and say, you know, oh, well, you're analyzing that in hindsight. No, not really, right? The timestamps don't lie. 7:01, it's worth watching on the trend line break. There's the trend line break right there. I mean, it's a 3-minute play, so there's no possible way, you know, that I'm alerting this. And plus, it's a scalp move, right? The move had already happened. I typically don't alert scalp plays as far as like I did with AMD, where I give you the exact contract, the exact entry price, the place, the area to place the stop, etc. I don't normally do that unless we have more time on the trade. And a good example of that would have been, you know, if I was here to watch this play right here fold out, I would have definitely been able to give you the entry, the exit, and all that. But yeah, so from here, let's talk about this, why this was a decent play. Look, that old support is still validated as a new support, or as the same support. Additionally, you have VWAP, that's going to be that purple line, validating as a support. You also have a break of the downward trend line here. All right, and so you could kind of argue that, whoa, Gates, that kind of looks like a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, right? And that's a bearish reversal pattern. Shouldn't that break down? It could break down, but the fact that it didn't break down is even more bullish, right? So this probably, you know, maybe traders were looking to short here and got stopped out, and you know the price, it was a failed breakdown pattern is what it was, and then you got the move up to the high of day. So it ran to 289, and that is pretty perfect from what I posted on Twitter, right? Look for a break of 280 for the move towards 290. 289.30, that's pretty close. That's it, guys. That's all that I have on this trade breakdown. 3 different entries, 2 scalp plays, and 1 push on this move right here. You know, you have to know the setup and get familiar with the ticker that you're trading, because this setup was so juicy, because it was over 280 and it has not, you know, really broken over that price point in a few weeks. It didn't need to pull back to 280 for us to take an entry. You know, the moment that it made that high right there, hey, there's your signal. Go ahead and take the trade, get in, let's catch this move up. Thank you guys for your time. I hope that you've learned something, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, push the like button for me. Let me know in the comments section if you have anything specific that you want me to break down and review. I'll be happy to do that for you. And as always, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. I post stuff like this fairly often. All right, guys, I'll see you in chat. Thanks again for your time.